What you're about to see is an extended version of me building this house in SketchUp, me drawing it in SketchUp. It is long, it is kind of boring. It is the kind of thing that you should watch if you really want to see exactly how I did it in SketchUp. And I think that's a really valuable tool for those of you that are looking to design your own house in 3D modeling software like SketchUp. So continue watching if that's what you're looking to do. If you just want to see an overview of the house, of me doing it in SketchUp and just kind of a tour of how I did it, and then move right on to the framing videos and seeing how I actually built it in real life, then you should click here or there or somewhere right now to watch the SketchUp overview video, which is, it's about, I don't know, 10-15 minutes, and it just goes through the finished product. So enjoy, guys, and I hope this is helpful. Alright, so we have made the decision to put in 2 sets of stairs. We did not think that was going to be possible, but it is actually, after all of our iterations of design. So I want to just show you how I'm calculating the math for the stairs, the dimensions, using a stair calculator. This was something that I had no idea about until I did a set of stairs for the shop, and that was a great opportunity for me to learn all about it. So it's all about rise over run. So we first need to get the rise and the run. So I already have them mapped out here, and I'm going to explain this a little bit more once the stairs are done, why this is so low. But for now, just bear with me. So what do we got here? We got the rise is 5 foot 5 1/4. Okay. Okay, so I'm just gonna round that rise down to 5 foot 5. That's fine. And get a measurement from here to, that isn't working. What do we got here? 3 foot 9 1/8. Not sure how I did this, but let's just call that 3 foot 9. Okay, so 3 foot 9 and 5 foot, what did I say? 5 foot 5. Okay, so we got 65 inches in height and 65 inches in rise and 45 inches in run. All right, so let's go over to the calculator and see how we're going to do this. So I'm using the stair calculator at mycarpentry.com. No. Okay, so I'm using the stair calculator at mycarpentry.com. And the automatic stair calculator is great, but the problem here is that my riser height is going to exceed 8.5 inches. So it's a kind of abnormal stairs, or I think it's going to exceed that. We'll see. I'm pretty sure it is. So I'm just going to use the manual stair calculator. I already know that my stairs are probably going to be around 10 inches of rise. So I've already kind of figured out that I think I need 6 risers here. And if you look over here, this is the riser, this little rise right here, and this is the tread, these guys right here. So the overall rise over run, this is the total rise over here, and this is the total run. But then we got these little rises and little runs. So the little rises are the risers, and the little runs are the treads. Okay, so that being said, we said we're doing 65 inches of rise and 45 inches of run. I'm guesstimating 6 risers. Thickness of tread material, that's these guys. I'm just using 3/4 inch plywood, so that is going to be 0.75 inches. And let's calculate that first with standard. And you see how standard, the last piece is a riser. So like the last guy right here, the stair ends there. That's called standard. If you select flush, you can see how that last tread is flush with the top deck, with the total rise. And that's not what I want for this. So go back to standard. All right, so now it's giving me a bunch of dimensions. So my first riser is 10 and 1/16, and the subsequent risers are 10 and 3/16, and the treads are going to be 9 inches, 9 inches wide. What that does is it leaves 11 and 9/16 at the end, a little bit higher last step. And this is what I've noticed with this, is that generally the way this calculator does it, the first step is going to be slightly lower of a rise than the rest of these steps. In this case, it's 1/8 of an inch. It's 10 and 1/16 versus 10 and 13/16 for the rest of these. Sorry, not 1/8 of an inch. That one is actually 3/4 of an inch of a difference. And the last one is even a little bit larger. So, you know what? These are kind of negligible amounts when you're actually like using the stairs. So it's not really something to be concerned about. Actually, let me see something here. Okay, yeah, something to point out here is that this last riser, for some reason, the way this calculator is showing it, it's not taking into account the tread height into the 11 and 9/16. It's going off the actual top of the stringer here, not off the top of the tread. Whereas so it's going off the top of the stringer to the top of the finished height, which essentially is the top of the treads on the finished floor. Whereas these guys they're being measured from the top of the stringer to the top of the next stringer. Since there's no stringer here, it's going all the way to finished height. So really we're adding on another 3/4 of an inch if we're comparing apples to apples of this last riser compared to the middle risers. So if we take 3/4 of an inch off this, that brings us down to about 10 and 3/4, which is very, very close to, it's actually 10 and, what would that be? 13/16. Oh, look at that. So what this thing is doing is this last riser is actually 10 and 13/16. It's identical to these. So the only riser that's different is the first one at slightly less height than all the rest of the risers. So yeah, this calculator is dead on here. I like that. Okay, so yeah, let's get started with this. So I'm going to start drawing this in SketchUp, and we got 10 and 1/16 for the first one and 10 and 13/16 for the subsequent ones. I'm going to write that down right now with our tread thicknesses at 3/4 of an inch, and I'm going to draw that in SketchUp. All right, so I'm going to start down here, and I'm going to draw, oops, not the tape measure. We're going to use the rectangle tool. I'll get that intersection, and this is going to be 10 and 1/16, comma 0.75. All right, that's going to be our first. That's going to be our first riser, and this first tread. Oops, you know what? I didn't actually write down the dimension. Let me go grab that. Okay, our treads are 9 inches. So, you know, according to, so the way these treads generally work, or this calculator was showing us the tread sitting on the stringer. So the stringers are actually going to have to be a little bit deeper to give us a whatever I just said, a 9-inch tread. So we have to make these treads to be 9 3/4. You'll see why that makes sense in a second. So 9.75, 0.75. All right. Now see, what I'm doing with this thing is that a lot of these guys, or all of them, are going to have since we're not doing stringers, we need to go back down to the floor to support these things. So we need to take this guy, paste it over here, so we have some support. And that's going to be okay, because these are all going to be like cubby holes that, and little like cabinets and stuff. So we're okay doing that. And now you can see with the tape measure, if I measure from here to the edge, we get 9 inches, which is our tread width. If I had made this just 9 inches long overall, then this riser that I'm about to draw would have cut into that, and we would have only had 8¼ of tread width. Okay, so now that we're on our second riser, the rest of the risers are all 10 and 13/16, so I'm going to draw that using the rectangle tool. Okay, and we can use the same riser, so the same tread that we just had. Okay, so now I'm just going to draw this pattern up the rest of the way. I'm going to copy these in pairs, like so. And it looks like I'm actually slightly too far. Huh. Wonder how that happened. Let's see here. Looks like I might be 3/4 of an inch too far. 5/8. Huh. Wonder how that happened. Well, it's no matter, because I don't mind if I just push the rest of this out just a little bit. I can push this whole thing out 5/8. Alright, move it out, snap to the green, 5/8. Okay, not a big deal. Easy fix in this scenario. Not exactly sure what went wrong there, but it doesn't really matter. Okay. Okay, so now we got a perfect fit. Ooh, this is not right. Okay, so look, I did something wrong here. I miscalculated this. Ultimately, I wanted my last tread to stop up here. So what I actually need to do, it's funny, for those calculations in that calculator, I need to treat this with these 6 risers with the flush option, because I want them to end. I want this last tread to end at my total rise. Yeah, I kind of messed that up. Usually I'm used to going all the way up to the top, where this is fine because the last step goes to the top, but I'm not trying to do that here. I'm trying to terminate my last step at this point, which is not at the top of the rise. Well, not top of this rise. So I'm going to go back, and I'm going to change that option, and I'm going to redraw this. Let me undo this stuff. Okay, so we'll do flush. So what does that change in here? Changing my tread width. It's actually not what I want. I think what I need to do actually is make this, if I up this to 7 risers. Yeah, I think that's going to do it. Alright, so now our new dimensions are 8 and 9/16 for the first riser, 9 and 5/16 for the remaining risers, and 7.5 inch width tread. Alright, let me give that a shot and see what that actually... Okay, as I'm finding out here, this is a little bit funky to make this work, but I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to finagle this. I'm going to set the rise. The height of my risers are around 10 inches, a little bit over. So I think I can get close to what I'm looking for if I just set the rise to another 10 inches high. But I keep the number of risers the same. Okay, so I think this is going to work now. Let's just give this a try. We got, what is this? We got 11 3/4 for the first riser. We got 12 1/2 for subsequent risers. And we got 9 inches of tread width. Alrighty, let's give that a shot. Okay, Mr. Rectangle tool, going up 11 3/4. Comma 0.75. So there's that. And now the tread width was 9, so we're gonna add on that 3/4 of an inch for this scenario. So that'll be 9.75, comma 0.75. Let's add this guy right here. Okay. Now for this, our subsequent risers are 12 1/2. Whoops. So let's rectangle tool, 12.5, comma 0.75. And let's copy this tread. Okay, so now that we got that, let's copy these. Let's see where we get. Ooh, see, that's really close. And I'm totally fine with that. Okay, sweet. So we got it. Now, I wanted to draw this one thing over here. This one support right here, but I don't want to draw any others because I got to fit a washer under here. So we'll get to all that in a moment, but let me first explain why I'm ending the last stair here. This is approximately, what is it, like 14 inches? It was 14 inches, but now it's different. What do we got? Can't snap properly here. Huh. Having trouble snapping. So 1 foot 1 3/4. So that is 13 3/4 inches. A little bit over a foot. And that is actually not much different than the rest of these risers. So the idea, man, it's not going to work for this one, but the idea was to have a tall final riser so you could just kind of crawl into your knees. And these risers are all pretty tall. So, and this is eventually going to be a kid's room, so I think that's going to be okay. But the idea is if you have a tall riser, I don't know, somewhere in the 14 to 16 inch range, I guess, maybe a little bit higher than this, you can very easily just kneel up onto here and crawl onto the loft. Whereas if you had a riser going up, you know, within 10 inches, 8 to 10 inches of the total rise height of your finished floor, it wouldn't be natural. You'd have to like go up and then kneel back down onto your knees. You're not walking up onto this on your feet because the ceiling is going to be too low up here. So that's the idea. This is also going to be a kid's room in the future, and it would probably be better if we didn't have, I mean, these stairs are not great for any kid, obviously, but when the kid's old enough to and gets used to this, you know, it'd be easier to traverse up here on like a 14-inch riser than it would be like on an 18-inch, 16 or 18-inch riser. So let's just leave that like that for now. Okay, so next step is, before I do anything else, I want to take a look at this washer. So let me unhide this washer, and I need to move this down now because I've made some changes since I originally put this in. So let's do that. Okay, so now that's on the floor. Kind of centered in there. Okay, so Really, I think I want it to be a little bit higher because it can fit underneath this stair. And ergonomically, it'll be a little bit easier to load and unload if it was just a little bit higher. So let's do that. Okay, I'll get it close. Don't have to be super precise here. What do I got? I got 3/4 of an inch, something like that. 9/16. That's fine. All right, that'll be fine for now. And then ultimately, I'm just going to draw a little platform under here. I can do that right now, I guess. But I only want it to be 22 inches deep to match the stairs. Let me just do that real quick. Okay. Oops. Bada boom. So what is that? 10 inches, 1 foot, 11 5/8. 1 foot, 11 5/8 inches. Okay. Pull that down to the floor there. Make an honest component out of that one. Okay. Oh, didn't quite get to the end there. Somehow messed that up. Just no worries. I can just pull it out. Okay. Oh wow, I might actually have to go out a little bit further. I'll deal with that later. Alrighty, so now you can see that we have a little bit of a puzzle we need to work out here. So let me first just put this in. This is going to be a no-brainer right here. So what do we got? There we go. 3/4. No, not about 3/4. Just give me 3/4. It doesn't want to. All right, 0.75, 2 foot 1. That would be 25 inches. 0.75, comma 25. Okay, so we got that in there now. Now, I need to draw one over here going all the way across. All the way to there. Man, this thing does not want to give me 3/4 of an inch. It's hilarious. All right, 1 foot 5 3/4. 1 foot 5 3/4. 0.75. Okay. Now, let me hide this thing again. We can just hide this too. Draw this guy. 3 foot 2 1/4. 0.75. Okay, so you see how I did that there? And over here, let's put another one of these. And then over here, 2 foot 1 3/4. 2 foot 1 3/4. 0.75. What just happened? Two foot 1 3/4. 0.75. What is it doing? Huh. Something funny going on there. anyways, this is all I really needed to do. So I guess what I can do is put something a little bit beefier in here, like drop this riser a little bit. Let me actually just do that right now. Yeah, I can just make this 1.5 inches. This needs to be a little bit stronger to support the weight of these stairs. So let's do this. That's 7.5. Just delete this. Yeah, something funny going on with my lines here. Don't know what it is yet, though. Okay. Erase these two. And there we go. Now we got something a little bit stronger that'll support the weight of those stairs. I can just laminate 2 pieces of plywood together. That would probably be enough. Okay. And I can have like a little ledger in the back. Okay, so let's see here. Let's get our washer back. And now this platform isn't going to work anymore. We can push it down 3/4 of an inch. So let me hide this. Push 7.5. Okay, we're going to unhide all. And we're going to move this down 3/4 of an inch. Okay, and now we got a nice little gap there. Okay, so I think we're looking pretty good. Give that a little save. And then we're going to pull these out 22 inches. Oops, lost my selection. Oh yeah, I'm going to have to do each one individually. Or I can just delete all these little lines, because I don't really need them anyway. I know how I'm going to be constructing this thing. This thing is just to look to see proportions and to make sure that what we're going to build isn't silly and we're going to hate it. So this way we know what we're getting into. And that's the beauty of SketchUp that I found. I mean, I'm not very patient and I'm not like that good at drawing. So SketchUp has made, even though it is still really time consuming, it has made it really short work to produce these drawings in comparison to what it would have taken otherwise with a level of precision that I never would have been able to get. So I'm pulling these out 22 inches. I don't think we want them to go out as far as this washer because it's going to jut into the room too far. I think 22 inches is going to be enough for us. Okay. I'm liking this. They're steep. These are definitely steep stairs, but I'm really liking the way they look. I think it's a lot better than a ladder in my opinion. So I think we're going to go for it. All right, let me make a component out of this. Okay, sweet. All right, so next up is the stairs on the other side. This was a mock-up I did that isn't going to work. I have to do the exact same thing I did over here, except for this one, I'm going to have a higher last step. And I also have to figure out how to reconcile dealing with the fender right here. So I'm going to have to brainstorm about that a little bit and then come back and make a video. I hope that I get it down a little more than I had these stairs down, because I had to kind of struggle through that with you guys a little bit. So I'll be back as soon as I figure out how I'm going to do this.